welcome back to Uncut and welcome back to another movie review.
Woo!
Today we have a little bit of a special episode. As you can tell, we're not in the studio, we're not recording anywhere you've seen us before.
Yes.
Right now we are in Machimudo's in
Connecticut.
Connecticut. And we're in a getaway house. You might be asking why we're in a getaway house. It's because this is the beginning of our honeymoon.
We just got married.
We got married.
We got married on Sunday. We're recording this. Is today Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah.
Today is Tuesday.
So 2 days ago.
Yeah, and this is our first stop on our honeymoon. But for today's episode, we decided it'd be really fun to review movies that have weddings in them.
Of course, of course.
But first, we'll do a quick debrief about our wedding. There will be a vlog coming up relatively soon with footage from that day that you can go check out. But to debrief, how do you think it went?
It went really well. At the beginning of the day, it was decently stressful for me mostly because there was a lot of stuff that needed to be done at the venue itself that wasn't getting done. Decoration was all over the place and just there was a bunch of stuff. But once like 2:40 hit, it was all just smooth sailing and everything went really well.
Yeah, I was definitely anxious in the morning because there's a certain point when he arrived where
Yeah.
he couldn't see me because I'd already had my hair and makeup done.
So I couldn't go upstairs where all the stuff
All the
was.
stuff was. I couldn't go downstairs and help. I had to just hide from him. So I felt bad because I was like, he is being asked all these questions. I'm being asked all these questions.
I'm getting 3 phone calls at the same time.
We don't know what's going on because we're not able to talk to each other because too many people are talking to us. So it felt incredibly chaotic. And there was a moment where I was standing there because the bridesmaids were taking photos with my dress hanging up and like the hanger. And so I couldn't even get dressed. I felt like I was there for like an hour
Not doing much.
waiting for my dress to be done being photographed. I know I will love those photos.
Oh
So
yeah,
it'll be worth
it's gonna
it.
be amazing.
I was so happy with how our first touch went. So in case you don't know, a first touch it's like similar to a first look where the bride and the groom they see each other before the wedding. But this time we didn't see each other. We spoke to each other and then held hands. I'll make sure I put like a photo.
Depending on when this comes
Depending on
out,
when this
if
comes
we haven't
out.
gotten the photos.
I have some Snapchat videos the other bridesmaids took of the event. But that was very sweet. It was really nice just connecting with each other. I may have ruined it by asking you if something else was handled. Remember?
Well, what did you ask me?
I
to attend
asked
to?
you because the ring bearers were dressed up like Secret Service agents.
Yes.
But I was like, do they have their equipment?
But it's funny because till you said that, I hadn't realized that no, they didn't
They
give
needed
it
it
to
because
them.
I know that I saw it in the office.
Yeah. But then as
So-
soon as I left the first touch, my grandma came in with stuff that I was already looking for,
Yeah.
plus the secret agent stuff that. And the both kids that were there, my own was there, so I immediately gave it to them and they put
Yeah.
it on. So that was resolved. I feel like that moment specifically fixed everything because we were able to
Yes.
do that. We got some photos for the memorial that we were missing. We got that done. And
The little things finally came together at the very end. Just
Yeah.
like right as I was getting pictures taken upstairs. We had a whole photo shoot upstairs. I can't wait for you to see those photos.
And I think after this is when I was okay. Like, let me write my vows into my vow book because I had them on my phone. Well, that didn't happen. My vows were too long, and I started writing, and like 3 sentences in, I was like, "This is taking too long."
Yeah.
So I just went to the event host and asked her to print it for me, and she did.
Nice.
And I just put that in my vow book.
See, that may have been smart to get it printed because I wrote my entire vows in English first and then had them translated to Spanish.
Yeah.
So as I was writing, because people were asking me questions, because I started writing like 3 hours
Yeah.
before we were going to get married. I was writing, but because I was zoning out, I kept repeating sentences, but I
Yours were
wouldn't
much
know
longer
it.
than mine.
Yeah, I didn't know it because the words all blended in together and I didn't know where I was. So it just wasn't worth it to write it in the vow book. I literally brought my phone. I had it in my pocket going down the aisle because I did not know where to read my vows from, if not just from my notes app on my phone.
Another really, really fun fact is that I was setting up, we were going to show a couple of videos at the cocktail hour, and I had to grab Caitlin's laptop to set it up. I opened Caitlin's laptop, and the thing that is open is the Notes app.
No way, I left it up.
She left it open.
No way.
But I read translation. That's the title. It said title translation. I was like, oop, out of here.
Oh
and I did not read anything else.
I didn't know that. You almost read your vow.
Lauren, our event day coordinator, she was there, and I was like, I did not see that. I did not see that.
I love that.
But yeah, you didn't even know that.
I didn't even know that. Yeah. The entire ceremony was done in like the blink of an eye.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy. It felt like my vows took forever to read.
Nah.
I was bothered by it, but everyone else said it was beautiful. And I was like, okay, perfect.
And then, I mean, it was super quick. Like, I really thought when we started that we were getting through it really fast. And I didn't think it was going to take... I thought we were going to be done within 10 minutes. And then we checked the time when we were done, and it was 4.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be done at 3:30.
Well, because we also got out there later.
Yeah, but it was like 3:10.
Yeah, I was looking at the audience, and I was just like, Lauren, I'm not going out yet until more people arrive. Like, give it a sec. Because I saw people coming in from the parking lot. Like, all of your coworkers showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, kind of coming together. So I was like, yeah, I'm glad I waited.
Yeah.
So that they could all, like, go sit down. Because just give them a few extra
it's funny because Lauren came down and she was like, oh, we're not going to start just yet. She's waiting for more people to come. And I'm like, who is waiting for more people to come? And Lauren was like, your bride. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I was like, the audience is too sparse. People need to sit down. People need to get out of their cars and sit down. So we waited for that. And then there's 2 moments where... Because I've been imagining this for a while.
Of course.
And I had the music picked out, specifically the specific parts in the song that I wanted to walk out to. So at the ceremony, the DJ played not the instrumental version, which I really wanted, of the song that I was supposed to walk down the aisle to. And so when I was going to walk out, like everyone was going out much earlier in the song than they were supposed to, even from the rehearsal. We planned it perfectly in the rehearsal, but the DJ didn't play it the way that I thought he was going to. So I literally told Lauren, I'm not walking out until I hear that part of the song. They can wait for me. Yeah. Because I want to hear that specific part of the song.
And I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, and you already knew that.
I mean, we talked about this part, and in my head, I was like, yeah, I mean, she knows when she wants to come out. And she can come out whenever.
Yeah. They can pause for a second. It also gave the flower girls a little bit more time to like scatter the petals and go sit down.
And you didn't notice this, but the aisle runner had to be fixed a couple times because it sticks to your foot.
Yeah. Also, my mom told me that aisle runner is 100 feet long. So why was it so short? It could have gone all the way to the door.
I know. It went all the way to the end of the aisle.
Chairs. Which, like, fair, but it apparently could have gone even longer.
We just never told whoever set the aisle runner that we wanted it all the way as opposed to from the beginning of the chairs. Yeah, which, I mean, that's where the decoration started, so it makes kind of sense that's what... Yeah, but whatever.
You also didn't get to walk down to your song.
Yeah, so there is this song called Una Noche en Medellín that is a good song. I don't love it, but... So anyways, my parents walked into their own wedding and had their first dance to Love Song by Tesla. So that song started playing, which we wanted, for the grandparents to come in and...
My mom to come in,
Exactly. And then he was supposed to play another song called Una Canción de Amor para la Pulga for me to come into. But
we specified it.
Yeah. Una Noche en Medellín started playing. And Lauren, that's a full-on reggaeton dancing song.
Right, which is not what you were aiming for.
And Lauren went down to try to fix it, and she came back to me saying, like, oh, it's just the remix version. That's the one that he has. And I'm like, there is no remix version. That's a completely different song.
Because that's not even the right song.
And Lauren was like, no, I promise you, I just saw it. It's the same title. I'm like, okay, so I'm not walking into that.
Right.
So we just played the other song, and my parents loved it.
Yeah, because your parents were also like hearing that song, and I bet reliving that moment.
And at the end of the day, I didn't hate it.
I know. Yeah. But I know how much the lyrics meant to you of the song that you really wanted. Yeah. So I felt sad hearing that.
It's okay.
But as long as you're still happy with what played, because going down to like a reggaeton song makes absolutely no sense
not
at all.
I was not about to walk in with that.
Yeah.
But then after the ceremony, we went to take some photos. I mean,
which are fun. Yeah.
It was really fun. It really felt like we were taking too long, and we were, because
the
host was telling us we need to get going.
Yeah, but we didn't go over by that much.
Not at all.
So it all worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and then we went to dinner, and dinner was great. We were full on bread.
Okay, my dress, first off.
Like a corset.
What?
Like a corset. Corsage?
Corset.
Corset. That's what I said.
I didn't know what you were talking about at first. So my dress, you'll see in photos, but it was super tight right where my ribs end and up, but the rest, like from my ribs down, was free movement. But that meant I basically couldn't really breathe fully or eat fully because my stomach was basically trapped. Like almost all my stomach was basically trapped. So I was like, I physically cannot eat anymore, even though I know I am hungry enough for it because I barely ate anything. So I was just sitting there, like, just trying to shovel some more mashed potatoes in. But thankfully, like, we got the food to go, so I ate it later that night. But then something really funny, I went to bend down to try to take off my shoes because I wanted to take off my shoes and put on some, like, slip-on flats before going to dance. And I heard this pop, and it was the clasp holding the, like, last bit of my dress together. Was it then when you were changing your shoes? Yeah, that is exactly what that was.
I thought the pop was when we were trying to take the photos outside.
It might have been that too. I don't know. But I just know half of the clasp that connected my dress together was gone. And that's why my top felt a little bit more loose. Like the corset was just as tight, but up here felt a little
But I couldn't really tell from the back. Like, it didn't look bad.
Yeah, I don't think you could tell at all in the photos, like, the change. We had a great photo shoot outside during dinner. I wish we ate our dessert a little bit more because it was amazing. Homemade pumpkin ice cream. I knew that they were taking photos of us, so I didn't want to be seen shoveling ice cream into my mouth. Because that was also during the toast that we had dessert.
Oh, yeah, no, but afterwards, my dessert was already juiced. So I literally came back to the table and I was like, I'm going to drink my dessert. And I did. I finished it
Well, then after that, we had our cake cutting, too. Which, the cake cutting was funny. We absolutely adore our cake. We even brought it to the cabin.
Oh, hold on. What? Before we move on to the cake, so to your point of your dress being tied for food, I was also wearing a slim tuxedo. Yeah. So I had my shirt, then I had my vest, then my jacket with my beautiful tie. So yeah, the jacket, the vest especially was definitely like tucking me in, and I could only eat so much before I had to stop.
We both were just sitting there being like, are we full? Like, can we just not shovel any more food?
We finished half of our food. Yeah. The steak, the dinner was supposed to be 3 different slices of sirloin.
Well,
mine. I finished 1.
Yeah. I ate barely half of my chicken roulade. Oh, but it was so good.
Cake.
Our cake cutting. So it had been frozen, or like kind of frozen to keep it like nice and fresh so that it could sit out in the reception hall for a long time. And so by the time we got there, I feel like our cake knife was ever so slightly flimsy too, which I don't think helped. So we go to start cutting, and then I notice we start angling really harshly into the cake. I'm like, that's not a straight line. So we like sliced it, and then I had to go down. We had to do another slice to go down, and then there was cardboard, like just attached underneath, that was not budging. And so when he went to go try to get like the slice and pull it up, it took a little bit of work.
It did.
And I had to basically catch the cake.
Yeah, because I went on the underneath the cardboard first, so it was literally not gonna.
The whole cake started lifting, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
But then it was stuck to the cardboard, so I had to like scrape it off as I was going in.
But we finally got the slice, and then he gives me a mouthful of icing.
No, so this is what happened in my head. I was like, "Oh, that looks like too much icing. Let me put in some more cake in there," and I did. So I guess it wasn't a mouthful of icing.
I only tasted icing.
It's just that it was very icing heavy.
But it was delicious.
It was very good.
I want to eat some tonight.
Hold.
You want to get it? You want to show them what our cake looks like?
Right here.
Don't mind that it's like half eaten. Ta-da!
It's a little destroyed now.
Yes, because we've been eating it and it's just been in the box.
We shall be eating cake.
Yes. But that was a lot of fun. And then our dances. First off, everyone apparently cried for our first dance and parent dances.
Of course. But we did the champagne toast first, didn't we?
We did do the champagne. Well, we did the champagne after our dance.
Okay, so dances. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had our first dance, which was Die Alone by Phineas. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite songs. Am I too far in or are you too far? No, I think that's good.
There.
Die Alone by Phineas. one of my favorite singer, writer, composers
Mhm.
ever, because he just does it all.
Yeah.
And we started. If you've ever heard this song, it has three specific like parts to this song.
Like chorus chunks.
Yeah, it's like chorus, then instrumental for like 15 seconds, then chorus, instrumental, then chorus. And so we started dancing, the two of us. That was our first dance. Initially, we had planned it for it to start with the parents, but I was like, the first dance of the night
Should be
cannot be
us.
not us.
Exactly.
So we started that. Then it went with my dad and me and Kaylin and her mom. And then we finished with Kaylin and her dad and me with my mom. Everyone was sobbing.
Everyone was sobbing. It was so sweet. The toasts were also absolutely amazing. I hope we get
Yeah.
footage of all of it. Because the only person who we have exactly what they said was Adelia, my maid of honor.
Well, yeah,
And I'm
we
going
had
to
a
frame
videographer.
that. We had a videographer, so hopefully they captured like as much of that as possible. And yeah, the dancers were amazing. And then after Die Alone, we had our surprise dance. Although half the people knew about it because I couldn't shut up and stop talking about it to everybody.
Which was encompassing of four songs, 5 if you really count Red by
Doja Cat.
Doja Cat. But it was like, it went from Put Your Hair on My Shoulder to Red of that part that slightly uses the Put Your Hair on My Shoulder.
We can probably insert the audio.
Yeah. But if we can, we'll show you the dance.
Yeah, and then it was Tu Sonrisa by Elvis Crespo. And then it was
Mujeriego.
Mujeriego.
Which means...
by Ryan Castro.
Like a man that sleeps with too many girls.
I didn't know that. That's what that meant. And then we ended off with Mallory by Ryan Castro as well. So it was a lot of fun. Everybody really enjoyed that. And then, we had our little champagne tower. Worked pretty well.
Not many people knew what was going on, but we knew that it was mostly for the photos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I felt bad because they didn't, like, the audience didn't really know that it was like an open dance floor and they could come onto the dance floor now. So I felt like I needed to be like, it's an open dance floor. Right as soon as that ended. Everyone was still sitting there. There was no music. Or I think he started playing some music.
Well, he started playing immediately and
but there was no...
The Cha-Cha slide.
Yeah, there was no announcement of come join us.
No, he did say it. It's just the microphones weren't great.
Yeah, he said that later. So
I mean, it took maybe less than a minute for everyone to pop into the dance floor.
I'm always a stickler for awkward moments, though. I felt awkward in that moment.
Her and I started doing the Cha-Cha slide and everyone joined.
Yes, we did ensure that happened. Although that was the longest Cha-Cha slide I think I've ever done.
So if you ever heard the Cha-Cha slide, he says join me for part 2. And then
usually the song ends.
In part 2, he says join me for part 3 and blah, blah, blah.
I think
he played all 3 songs. And at the end, he's like, part 4 coming soon. And I think that's around where it ended.
And you were like, thank God it's over.
Yeah, I think it goes turn it up or turn it down.
We clapped hands twice, which if you ever know that song, you're only supposed to clap once. So the fact that we did it twice, I was like, okay, I know this is going on way too long.
At one part, it's turn it down. Yeah. And I was like, I cannot turn it down anymore.
Right. Yeah. But then,
fun.
Then after that, they played a bunch more songs that we liked. I had my bouquet toss. I, again, wanted to wait for the right part of the song. So I tried to...
only 17.
I tried to play it up, trying to get people to be like, who do you think deserves it? Which of you wants it the most? And then I threw it, and then one of my coworkers got it. I was so happy. And then we did more dancing, which we all got on video. There was some fantastic photos being taken. And then
Her papa specifically, he is on a cane that he uses to walk. He literally goes to a column, puts the cane down, and goes to the dance floor and starts just dancing it up.
It was great. My nana and my grandma also were pulled into the middle of the dance circle. They were all having so much fun. I absolutely loved it. Everybody was so happy for us. I got so many compliments throughout the night. And then we had our private last dance, which some people were confused.
Yeah.
They thought they had to leave.
I mean, I understood I understand that it was confusing. Yeah. But we asked everyone to leave the room and told them, you can come back. Just go right now and you can come back.
I just loved your mom running back in to grab something. And you had to be like, no, Mom, you can get it. Go.
But then once everyone left, we were able to just have our private moment, last dance. And then we left.
We got into the Jeep, rolled up.
It was really funny because So we were staying at this Airbnb with all of
The
our
entire
bridesmaids
wedding
and
party, yeah.
groomsmen and some extra friends.
Mm-hmm.
But we were obviously ahead of the party.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to the Airbnb, Kaylin gets a call and my mom gets a call. My
Mm-hmm.
mom is getting a call from my grandma saying her mom lost her purse and she's crying in the parking lot. Who called
Ab
you?
called me. Ab was like, I am so sorry. Ab is one of my bridesmaids. Ab was like, I'm so sorry to be calling you, but no one is answering their phone. This is the situation. Can you send me people's contacts so that I can ask who has
Yeah.
your mom's purse?
But I think it took like maybe 10 minutes or so to figure it
Yeah.
out. It ended up happening that my
It was a
sister
pretty
grabbed it.
chaotic mad dash to
Yeah.
clear the entire building of all of the belongings. So there wasn't necessarily a coordination on, oh, this belongs to this person. Let me see who this
I don't know
belongs
why
to.
that was the way that they decided to go about it because they had till 10.
Yeah, they had till 10. There was a good
Yeah.
2 hours it felt
I
like.
don't know why they decided to rush through it.
Yeah, I don't know if they just wanted it done as quickly as possible. But yeah, so some things were a little chaotic. I had to locate some stuff the day after to be like, okay, I just want to make sure that someone grabbed this. My glasses were just like in my suitcase, not protected by anything. They were
Yeah.
just thrown in there. And I was like, I'm glad that was not lost because I need these things to see.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was definitely,
But
it was
it all
just
worked
as
out.
chaotic as the morning, but everything was found except for a few phone chargers. I hear some people still have
Yeah.
not recovered their phone
I
chargers.
think your mom and Maho.
Maho, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? We're married. We had a fantastic time. The night evaporated. It was
It did.
over and done with so quickly.
But now we're Mr. and Mrs. Para.
We're husband and wife now.
That's just what it is. Now we're
That's
actually
crazy.
that film couple.
Yes. As if dating and being engaged does not negate the couple part. It has to be husband
We're
and
that
wife.
film wedding couple.
Husband and wife duo. Yes. So with that being all said and done, let's
Let's
talk
get
about
started.
some movies. So we are going to be covering Mamma Mia, The Hangover, the first one,
Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids,
Bride
Wars, and My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Wedding.
Obviously, this is not every movie that has a wedding in it, but
These are the ones
like,
that we
most
watched
popular.
and wanted to talk about.
Yes. So which one would you like to start off with?
We can start with The Hangover.
The Hangover.
I think this is the outlier.
Yes, because it's not necessarily about the wedding, it's about the bachelor party and
And it's-
everything that went wrong
It's
in
the
it.
one movie in this list that is centered around the groom, not the bride.
Yes.
Or the bridesmaids, per se.
They're like not even involved.
This movie, I absolutely adore.
Yes.
And Kaylin hadn't watched it for the longest time. I had to show it to her. And she also really loved it.
It was so funny.
I
but it
have
was
not watched the
insane.
sequels. So I
No.
don't know about the sequels.
I haven't heard good things about the sequels, but the first one is iconic.
Yeah. I mean, it's these guys that just go to Vegas and everything goes wrong. We lose the groom. We don't know where he is.
Yes.
Still trying to get
Was
him
he
on
like
time for the
kidnapped or
party.
something?
I
don't
don't
even remember. I forget. I think it was mainly, if I remember correctly, because we watched this movie a bit ago. I
Yeah.
think it was they partied too hard, and then they had to retrace their steps because either they took like a pill or were so inebriated that they did who knows what.
Yeah.
And then that's when they
I
had
know
to
Mike
retrace
Tyson
their
was
steps.
there with a tiger.
Who was the other guy, that other comedian that was in the movie?
Kim Jong, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Something like that.
He was in there. And then Andy from The Office was in there. But yeah, it was so funny.
groomsmen.
Yeah. I
mean,
absolutely loved it.
As a wedding movie, it does serve its purpose. I think it shows the worst that it can get to. Hopefully, I don't
Right.
think. I mean, other than dying, I think not knowing where the groom is because of the bachelor party,
And
is
he
probably
may or
the
may
worst.
not be alive.
Yeah.
Because that's how crazy the past night was. Yeah. That's a solid movie.
Yeah.
What would you rate that? Like out of 5?
I'll give it a solid 4.4.
I think a 4 is
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
It's a really funny movie. If you have not watched it, you should. And you don't need to be in a wedding or anything for it to be really funny.
It's
or
just a
really
bunch
meaningful.
of guys who make a terrible
Yeah,
decision after
exactly.
terrible decision and suffer the consequences, but it's really funny.
Yeah. No.
Next up, we can talk about Mamma Mia.
Of course.
My pride and joy. I
Probably my
love Mamma
favorite
Mia.
romance musical.
Yes. Yes. We saw not only both the movies, but then we saw a like stage version
We
of
did
it,
in
which
London.
I adore.
I think it was the very last thing we watched in London.
Yeah, that's when everyone got COVID.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That's another story for another day.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really solid movie, and I don't know necessarily. A wedding happens through it, but
Well,
I'm not sure it's about the wedding.
Because the whole concept is that
She's looking for her dad.
This girl, she's getting married in like a few days and decides to invite 3 potential people that might be her father, that she received from like a diary entry that her mom wrote. And so basically she's basically trying to figure out who her dad is in time so that he can walk her down the aisle.
Yeah.
And of course, chaos ensues. It is a musical, which historically you don't like. So I'm happy you like
There's
this
a handful that I really do enjoy, and I will say I watch them because I like them.
Exactly. I think the plot and story is so solid, and the music is fantastic.
Oh yeah, ABBA,
all
of
of the
right?
ABBA. Give me more of it. I am obsessed with
And the
that
romance
musical.
itself is more like a second subplot. It's more about this mother relationship with her daughter. That's
It also feels kind of coming of age.
coming of age.
Because she's a very young bride.
It's
She's
the-
what, like 20?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very young. And it's the classic Greek stereotype that now we all have in mind. Like, if you go to Greece, you're going to try to recreate the Mamma Mia scenes.
Yes.
So.
Definitely. I personally give this like a 4.5.
Ooh. Yeah. Do I like it more than The Hangover?
I know I do.
I think I'll give it a 4.2. It's really up there.
Yeah. But not, what did you give Hangover?
4.4.
4.4. It's not, why does it not
I think I
shape
enjoy
up?
comedies more than rom-coms.
Fair.
I'm more of a childish sense of humor.
I see.
Like, we just watched White Chicks, and that is hilarious.
Yes.
That is my kind of humor in a movie. Like Adam Sandler, love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is true.
I mean, we're in Greece, so might as well stick around.
For my big fat Greek wedding. This movie was wild.
It was insane.
It was crazy.
It was both of our first times watching it. And how would you describe the experience that we lived through?
I felt like I was in a fever dream. First off, the way that they structured the movie and to show time passing was insane.
Exactly.
Like, I did not realize that there would not be as a cohesive point. It just felt like suddenly it's been 6 months and we're just not going to address it. It all felt very sudden, but also like the just right amount of time, as long as you picked up on the context clues of about how long things have been. I really did enjoy the love story.
Yeah, I think one big thing in this movie is that we could relate to it a little bit, being an interracial couple.
Yeah. And the intricacies of trying to like combine cultures, especially when your families are so different from one another. Thankfully, we're not that different.
And we speak the same language. They spoke the same language. We didn't.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah. There was definitely more translation stuff that we've experienced versus in that movie where the Greek family is also like English. You can speak English and whatnot. So there's not that translation, but there was a lot more religious stuff that added to the comedy of that movie too. Yeah, so we definitely related to this movie, but it was wild.
And it was a little bit of Ugly Betty. It was like, you're ugly. Take off your glasses.
Right. I was like, okay, this is the classic 2000s. She's a little bit bigger. She has curly hair. Let's tone it all down and make her hair a little straighter, take off the glasses, and boom, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, and then once again, the big fat Greek wedding was definitely the main
build
plot.
That point, yeah.
Yeah. But the movie didn't end there.
Yeah, it continued past that.
Yeah.
It showed how I think if anything, the main plot is trying to combine these families
for sure
together. in preparation for the life they're gonna live afterwards.
But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. And will I watch it again? I don't know. But I think I
Maybe.
will give it a shot to the sequels.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm very curious what they would do next.
Exactly.
I understand why it's iconic. The
Oh, for sure.
entire wedding sequence was also very interesting because
It
it's
was.
interesting to see how people do weddings throughout like the decades. I find like I could see like similarities, but I also see like a lot of other differences. Like especially like how the entire family got ready together, like in the house.
Yes.
She got ready in her childhood bedroom, and all the sisters and cousins and whatnot were all there. Whereas like nowadays you have like professionals and there's more photographers. There's more intricacy, like caring more about the details. Whereas it feels like even 20 years ago when this movie was being made, it felt like it was just more focused on just let's just have the wedding. All the details will are like secondary to that.
But one thing I really appreciate about this movie is the fact that through all of this craziness, the couple stuck together.
Yeah.
Which is something that at the time we watched it, planning a wedding, we really felt because it was like we're trying to combine these two really different families.
Yeah.
You and I have to stick together so this can work out the way we want it to work out.
Exactly.
Which is what they did in the movie. Yeah. What'd you give it out of 5?
I think I'm hesitant to give it a 4. So I think I'll do like a 3.8.
I was exactly thinking the same.
Really?
3.8 clapping words.
Yeah. I feel like we've explained that enough, I think.
For sure.
What was the next one? Bride Wars.
Bride Wars.
Bride Wars.
We watched this like what, 2 weeks ago, 3?
Something like that.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. What was it? Kristen Wiig, I think.
No idea.
I don't remember her name. I'm so sorry. This movie was hilarious and very true. Because yeah, I'm definitely part of that group that had been planning their wedding for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily a stickler as our main characters. It has to be here,
it has to be then.
Yeah, because the main conflict is like both our main characters get engaged. What is it? Like a
day
week
apart
from each other or something like that. And they both want to get married at this exact hotel. They want to have these like exact things and like the exact month too.
Something like that.
Yeah, like a specific hotel, which I do not understand hotel weddings.
In New York.
Yeah, in New York. Maybe that's why, because it's in New York and
yeah,
they want to have a
June.
fancy New York wedding. Yeah, in June specifically. And so things are fine until suddenly now their weddings are booked for the exact same day at the exact same time. And so it feels like they're sabotaging each other to get each other to cancel. But then they also end up hurting each other. And because they're best friends, you would think that they'd be each other's maid of honors, but now they don't even let that. Time. So there's just so much good competition, which is where it's really funny. Yeah. But it's so true how insane like planning a wedding is and all the things you think about. So every time they would sabotage each other, I was like, if that happened to me, I would lose it.
I would not be friends.
Die. I could never speak to this person again. Like it was crazy, but it is so much work. And also it's crazy the timelines in which they plan these weddings, because I feel like we planned our wedding simultaneously with enough time and not enough time at the exact same time. These people are planning their weddings in like 3 months. I could never. I needed all 500 of those years.
And I guess this movie hits a little bit harder because we happen to be planning weddings at the same time as our best friends. At one point it was 3 of us. Now it was 2 of us. And stuff does go down when that happens.
It really... Weddings test both your family relationships and your friendships.
We'll tell you in a year.
So it was just... It really hit hard. Like, how easy it is to let a wedding or the milestones leading up to it ruin it. And that's something I want to talk about with the Bridesmaids movie we just watched too. But yeah, I did really enjoy this movie overall. Yeah. I don't know if I'd watch it again because it would give me... It gave me a lot of stress already just to watch it.
It was very stressful because it's like, you're best friends. Why are you doing this?
Exactly.
It just doesn't make sense.
So I would give it... It was a good movie.
For me, I think it's a solid 4.
Yeah. I liked it more than My Big Fat Greek Wedding, but I can't say I'd rewatch it because it gives me stress.
And last but not least, we
Bridesmaids.
have Bridesmaids. We literally just finished
watching
this movie on the iPad here at the Getaway.
Yeah.
We started last night, right? No, we started today. Yeah.
This movie is stressful.
It was very stressful. Very. I mean, and it's a movie, but it's very unrealistic.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was realistic in the sense of like feeling like how close of a friendship you have with the
Yeah.
bride. Is that going to be like affected by the other bridesmaids or like.
Which could have happened
Yeah.
to you because you were bringing friends from all over.
Exactly. Like multiple walks of life. And our main character isn't even the bride. It's the original maid of honor,
Yeah.
at least, who has all these insecurities about her friendship because one friend happens to be, like, say, prettier or has more money, and so she can't give the bride all these things, which is insane. I think the concept of how much a maid of honor has to do.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot. Like, it feels like the maid of honor is basically planning the entire wedding and your bachelorette and bridal shower.
I don't know why that would be the case.
I don't know why I would give control to another person like that. Like, I love my maid of honor, but I want to be involved.
I want to plan the wedding.
I have a theme. I have ideas. So, like, the fact that that's, like, in movies, because movies are a reflection of things that are real. So that meant that this is a real deal. My mom even confirmed it, how much, like, maid of honors do and did and whatnot. So I'm glad that trend is kind of dying out.
And one of the main things in this movie is the fact that the maid of honor, the original one, our main character, is childhood friends with the bride.
Knowing her the absolute longest.
So she feels like the bride has now changed and she's not that kid that she grew up with anymore.
Despite that not being the case at all.
I know, like, you're over 30 years old.
Yeah.
And you're still together. It's not like you stop being friends. But it feels like everything that the bridesmaid is doing, the maid of honor is doing, is centered around their childhood friendship. Which in some kind of sense relates to my best man. And because he is a friend that, he was my best friend in high school. We lived together. He was my roommate. Till I met Caitlin. And at one point, he did say he wasn't sure about doing the speech because he hasn't been my closest friend for this past 3 years or so, during college and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different because we weren't kids. Exactly. We were still, like, pretty much adults. But I can definitely see how that could be an issue. But this girl, again, she's literally still friends with the bride.
And also, if you really take a look into how, like, the bride's character in general, everything that this other bridesmaid was doing, like spending money, doing all these
Definitely
things,
over the top.
It was all over the top, and there's no need to make assumptions that the bride was all over and also the bride's allowed to enjoy something, enjoy things that are given to her. And I just don't think the main character was able to grasp that the bride was allowed to be happy and with what was given to her, and just be happy for her. I felt like the main character was incredibly selfish.
Yeah, because, like, I'll take going to Paris.
Yeah. And yeah, her wedding dress ended up looking terrible, but she's still allowed to be happy that someone gave her a trip to Paris.
It's a give and take. As a bridesmaid or a maid of honor, you have to understand that although you're leading the charge, you're not the bride. You should make sure that everything serves the purpose and the wants of the bride and the groom. But specifically the bride if you're the maid of honor. But as another bridesmaid, you also have to understand that the other girls are going to do work and are going to try to help.
Yeah.
And the bride is allowed to be happy for something that you didn't do.
It's not that bride. It's not the bride saying that what you're doing is less than.
Yeah.
She's just allowed to also be grateful for all the other things that are happening, even if you couldn't give her that much. Yeah. So like, I definitely felt it when they were going to find, like, bridesmaids' dresses. I didn't have my bridesmaids wear specific dresses. But I felt that, like, I was like, this is why I didn't want to do the specific dresses, because they were going to have these hard conversations of, like, well, I can't afford that, or, well, that doesn't match my silhouette, or the fabric just doesn't look good. Like, I just simply do not like the dress.
Like, they ended up picking the $800 dress, which
is
they
crazy.
had to pay for, and only one could really afford.
Exactly.
Well,
and then there was that whole thing with, like, Las Vegas and how that's a lot of money to then not even be able to go, which is a funny scene in itself. And then this over the top shower, like all these things, like like the bride wasn't the one insisting on it. It was another bridesmaid who insisted on a lot of these things and made the decisions for the bride, basically. But just really shows how toxic a wedding can also be.
And then when I say that it's realistic, I don't mean exactly what happened. Because if you have the money, all of this could be realistic.
Right.
I mean unrealistic in the sense how the original maid of honor reacted to all of this.
Such funny scene.
She was just going haywire. She was
think
going
she
insane.
actually was losing her mind.
Yeah. So I think that's what wasn't realistic.
Yeah. But the insecurity, valid.
Yeah, for sure.
The self-sabotaging, valid.
Yeah.
And just the toxicity that ends up following a wedding around. So, yeah. This movie definitely hits close to home. I don't quite know if I'd rewatch it. And it had both its like comedic moments.
Yeah, but I think we both felt
moments.
it. How it wasn't necessarily a comedy. We thought it was gonna be more of a comedy.
That's what I walked into. So
But
I was a
closer to
little
a
bit
drama.
disappointed. Because I wanted something that was haha, hee hee, funny.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
And
but that doesn't make it a bad movie either.
No, for sure. But I thought it was gonna be about two bridesmaids, as both of them being the center of attention, both the main character. But we definitely had one specific main character and then supporting cast.
And seeing her life fall apart.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't regret watching it.
No. I think I like Mamma Mia better. I think
course.
I like Hangover better.
Yes.
What did I give Bride Wars? A 4?
Yeah. You put that up. So right now, we have, well, I have it, Mamma Mia,
Hangover,
Bride Wars, Big Fat Greek Wedding. I think Bridesmaids go under Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Whoa, last?
Yeah.
I think, it's tough. Yeah, I think I'll give this one another 3.8, putting it in match with Big Fat Greek Wedding.
So you don't want to do underneath, you're going to do equal.
I'm going to do equal.
So how does yours go? It goes Hangover.
Mamma Mia. Bride Wars, yeah. Big Fat Greek Wedding and Bridesmaids.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Yeah, it's a fair top.
Fair. Of course you would like the Hangover.
But what did you give Bridesmaids? What do you give Bridesmaids?
I would give it like a 3.5.
5? Wow, you really didn't like it.
Not nearly as much, because again, I came into this expecting it to be more of a comedy, but I was looking at the main character and I was like, you're ruining the bride's life. Like,
annoying.
I would be so upset if I was the bride that you didn't let me just enjoy something, even though it was over the top and insane. Like, you ruined her shower and her bachelorette. And that hit close to home.
Yeah. And just because we just watched it, as a bonus, what would you give White Chicks?
That's not even about a wedding. What? But I'm giving the movie a 4. That was a fantastic movie.
I'll give it like a 4.5. Or whatever I get Hangover. But White Chicks is right there.
Anyways, those are our rankings. If you have any other wedding-related movie you think we should watch, send it our way.
We're going on our honeymoon. So we're on our honeymoon right now.
Technically, yes.
But we're going back home tomorrow, and then on Thursday, so 2 days from today, we're going to Iceland for 2 weeks. So
be there to the almost like the end of October.
Yeah. So you should be seeing this episode closer to when we are in Iceland.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here one more week. This episode was really exciting to do. We've been looking forward to it for a while. And we decided to do it while we were actually on our honeymoon.
I mean, look at the scenery in general.
Yeah.
This window is absolutely
It means more if you're actually living through it than if you're looking forward to it.
Definitely.
So thank you so much for being here. And you can follow us on all social media. And you can follow our podcast on Instagram at NCOT the podcast. And you can follow our Twitch as Sebas Parra 1K.
Yes, you got it right. You got it right.
You can follow our YouTube right now if you're listening. And you can follow us on YouTube as That Film Couple, which is the same handle for TikTok, That Film Couple. Come on, follow us there. We have a lot of fun stuff going on. And if you're watching right now on YouTube, you can also find this podcast as NCOT ! On any podcast platform you listen on. And then last but not least, you can follow me on Instagram as sebi.mp4.
And you can follow me at caitlin.mp4.
We'll see you in the next one.
And cut.